Be there as it happens.
Citi News.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to Eyewitness News, coming to you live from our studios here at Namale Incident. Also on Eyewitness News, GBA calls for the responsible exercise of discretionary power in the matter of the removal of the Chief Justice. Meanwhile, an application has been filed at the Supreme Court to suspend the suspension of the Chief Justice. Still on Eyewitness News, the Narcotics Control Commission intercepts 73 slabs of suspected cocaine at the Swiss port near the Kotoka International Airport. 4 persons have been picked up. We'll bring you details on this. Stay with 97.3 Citi FM for more on this, on another stories on Eyewitness News and in business.
Household loan rates remain below 20%. To bring you more from the BOG's latest report on percentage rate for loans to individuals.
There is more business in the next 50 minutes. Eyewitness News is live across the country on all our affiliates and around the globe at citinewsroom.com. Your comments are welcome via WhatsApp line 0549 986 996. You can follow me on X at Selom Adunu. The hashtag, as always, is Citi Newsroom. Hawa has the very first story.
The Health Minister, Eyewitness Acquah, is urging doctors at the Tamale Teaching Hospital to end their strike and resume emergency and outpatient services. The doctors suspended services over what they described as unwarranted attacks by the Minister of Health and Tamale North MP, Al-Hassan Suhini. Speaking during the presentation of medical equipment to the hospital, Eyewitness Acquah appealed to the striking doctors to prioritize the welfare of patients and public health.
My doors are widely opened. I'm not a perfect human being, but I listen and I'm prepared to work with everybody in the sector. And so let's all come together and work together for the betterment of the health sector. I know that for the past 2-3 days, I have been speaking to stakeholders in this sector. And please, it isn't everything we can put out there as leaders. I am prepared for us to come around the table and discuss whatever we need to discuss. And so my humble appeal to my wonderful medical doctors and health professionals at Tamale Teaching Hospital is that I am the first person to take care of your interest. And therefore, let's call off the strike and let's all regroup and strategize going forward.
The minister, whilst presenting a consignment of medical equipment to the Tamale Teaching Hospital, also urged management of the facility to ensure the proper maintenance of the equipment. He stated that well-maintained equipment is critical for quality care delivery and called on authorities to take full responsibility for preserving the new assets.
Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are working the lines to get somebody to speak to, but in the meantime, you can join the conversation via WhatsApp line 0549 986 996. As you may recall, that altercation between the head of the emergency unit at the Tamale Teaching Hospital and the health minister led to some strike action by the doctors in the facility. The doctors subsequently issued a statement spelling out a number of things, including an apology from the minister and also the provision of some equipment and consumables for the use of the hospital, because their main point was that the death of the person that caused the uproar and resulted in all of this happened because there were no equipment. Indeed, the ventilators, they said, were not available or were not working, and that was why the gentleman, according to some accounts, died. So as part of their conditions for returning to work, they gave a tall list of items that must be provided by the health minister or ministry so that they can do their work well and without issue. Now, the minister is spoken, said a few words, humbly appealing to them to come back to work. I don't know if they will deem that an apology or not, but the minister has humbly appealed to them to return to work. The minister says that he is the one with their interest at heart and is the one to help deal with the problems in the sector. And of course, he also presented some items, including consumables and some equipment, to the facility. So it remains to be seen whether the strike that was occasioned by the incident of 2 days ago will still stand, or the doctors will call it off. Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Howard will give us some more stories.
So, Salom, earlier in the day, some patients were left stranded because of the strike by the Tamale doctors. So, patients and their relatives were left stranded without any medical care following the indefinite suspension of emergency and outpatient services by the doctor for treatment, and there were no doctors around.
We brought our patient who is struggling to breathe to the Tamale Teaching Hospital this morning, but we were told there was no doctor available to attend to us. We are pleading for urgent intervention so that doctors can return to the hospital and provide the care patients desperately need.
Who had brought in a family member to be given some treatment at the Tamale Teaching Hospital. Let's hear from a member of Parliament Health Committee, that is a select committee on health, who also paid a working visit to the Koforidua Eastern, that is the Eastern Regional Hospital, and he's member of Parliament for Akim Oda, Alexander Eyewitness, who has called on the doctors to choose dialogue and return to work.
Yes, we are concerned. We all know the incident that led to the withdrawal of their services. We have already condemned the minister that his actions was capricious, his actions was wrong. In government, he wants to do that. He will incur the displeasure of the healthcare workers, and it will not be well for him.
Alexander Eyewitness is a member of Parliament Select Committee on Health and MP for Akim Oda.
Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. He has joined us on the line. That is the member of Parliament for Akim Oda on the ticket of the MPP, also a member of the Health Committee of Parliament, the Honourable Alexander Eyewitness, to help us delve into this matter a bit more. Hello, good evening, sir. Welcome to Eyewitness News. What indications do you have? Do you have indications that the doctors may call off the strike anytime soon, given the statement from the minister?
Well, good evening to you and your listeners. What we have done as members of the minority on the health committee is to appeal to the doctors to exercise some restraint. If the minister erred, we do not expect them to punish the poor patients. And we have said to them that two wrongs do not make right. And then if two elephants are fighting, it is the grass that suffers. And so they should temper justice with mercy, mercy with justice, and then get back to work and see to the patients for us.
All right. So, but the minister has spoken, and I mean the tone of his speech this afternoon suggested that he was extending an olive branch to the doctors. Shouldn't that suffice? I mean, shouldn't that suffice? The doctors called for an apology from the minister. I'm not quite sure exactly why they wanted the apology, but the minister has spoken, and he is spoken in terms that people have described as quite conciliatory. Shouldn't that end the matter?
Well, I have not listened to him, but I've read from the social media depicting that he is alluding to the fact that respect is reciprocal. That perhaps could be enough. But you see, these doctors have had their egos so bruised. They have had their egos so injured. And I have said this. I started saying these things when the Honourable Akando went to the Ridge Hospital, that you do not handle health sector workers with this kind of attitude. Because, you see, we like I said in the news item, we were in opposition are supposed to be doing that, like he was doing. But we have learned our lessons. We know what is in government. We know what the people are going through. So the best we can do is to handle them with some form of tact and get them to provide the services they are providing to our people in the midst of the kind of difficulties that we experience. The Honourable Akando was touting a lot of solutions to our health issues when he was in opposition. And so one would have thought that after spending about 3 months in government, it would have been easier for him to have solved all the issues if it was that easy. He's been a member of the ranking committee, a ranking member of the health committee for the past 8 years. He knows everything about Tamale, and so he didn't have to take such a passionate appearance in the Tamale hospital to solve the issues. I think that it was overbearing. It was an overreach. It was high-handed, but we just have to continue appealing to the doctors to calm down so that at least they do not injure or harm our patients the more.
But I mean, I'm not sure who should be apologizing to who. And indulge me, a patient has died. Somebody has died in the hands of medical officers or at a facility. Caused an uproar. The matter has caused an uproar. People say it was negligence. We do not know. The matter is still being investigated. And if a minister who is a duty bearer appears at the scene, the approach may not necessarily be the best, but a few things happened. You know, who should be apologizing? Who should be going on? I mean, should the doctors be going on strike because of this? Somebody has died.
If we're going on that tangent, then one would have suggested, or one would suggest, that the minister should go around all facilities and ask the number of people who died in every facility and why they died. If he can do that. You know, in health practice, there is always a meeting when there are mortalities, and it is done occasionally, on a regular basis. It could be every week, it could be every month. Why do they do that? When you go to a hospital, when you send a relative or a sick person to the hospital, you have two things happening. It's either the person is going to be treated well and go back home, or perhaps it will be above the medical people. If they have to refer, they could refer. If something they cannot handle, the person passes on. That's it. But because we always have to find out why such death occurs, why such mortalities occur, that is why we have mortality meetings. So there's a committee, and they do that very, very, very dispassionately, because you need to understand the issues that would have led to the death of a patient. You know, but the way he went to do it, in the full glare of the camera, in the full glare of the media, asking the doctor who perhaps had tried and had done everything to save the life of the patient. And this is a doctor that everybody can attest to, that has been a very, very good doctor. He's been a very wonderful medical personnel, you know. And so at the end of the day, after all he tried, if we politicians haven't been able to provide what it will take for him to give the best of care to the patient, and all he gets is to have such an embarrassment, you understand. Doctors will not take it. Doctors are a crop that you need to definitely manage them in their performance. We all end up one day on the table of the doctor. And so I think that we are politicians, and the minister is a politician. The same way he's been so passionate about saving lives and saving our healthcare institutions, I expect him to just render an apology, tell them, guys, I'm sorry, I was consumed by the passion, blah, 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 but forgive me, I think that I'll do it better. Next time, let's get back to work and let's do it better. That's it. And I'm sure they would know that, yes, the minister appreciates their concerns. Now they have asked the minister to provide them with all the things that they need to make their work comfortable. I have said somewhere that gradually, the work to rule attitude is creeping into our health sector. It is creeping into our health sector. And if it takes so much root in our system, we are dead. Because the health professional can definitely explain why a patient died. If you give the health professional the opportunity to explain, he can give you reasons why the patient died. Yes, you can set up committees here and there, but at the end of the day, in our system where we know that we lack a lot of the equipment, a lot of the things that will make our services appreciable, he could easily allude some of this inefficiency to the lack of equipment that is supposed to make their work comfortable.
But the point is, and sorry I'm pushing this, the point is, what did the minister do? Of course, and this is what Alasan Suini, who was part of the team and also one of the persons called upon by the doctors to apologize, said. He said exactly what are we apologizing for? And I read some quotes from him. He said, we haven't chastised him after that. He hasn't been disciplined because I do not think that argument amounts to indiscipline. I mean, referring to the exchange that ensued between the minister and the said doctor at the emergency unit.
My brother, you see, we have said that what happened there was uncalled for. The minister didn't have to do that. Honorable Suhini didn't have to get the minister into that. I am tempted to believe the person who died may be a high-profile personality, and that is why perhaps they called the MP, and the MP would have to call his colleague minister to come down to let them know that they think about them, they care about them. But I am telling you, what happened there is uncalled for. It's uncalled for. And the GMA and the medical doctors in Tamale, we are only appealing to them. But they should not push it. I think that, like I said, we are politicians. The politician can go to every extent to ensure that there is peace. If they are demanding that, look, you haven't treated us well. You know our situation. Honorable Suhini, how long has he been an MP for that area?
No, but he's not the MP for the area, though. I mean, he's not the MP for the area. Yes. No, but he was there. But yes. He's not the MP. Yes,
certainly. But I'm sure his constituents use Tamale government, Tamale Teaching Hospital. So he would definitely know the issues. I'm not the MP of Koforidua, but as a minority health committee member, we are touring some facilities. Today we were in Koforidua, and I had to appreciate them and let them know they are doing a very good work, because my constituents are often referred there, and they give them better treatment. And so I think that he knows exactly what happened. You know, when he was talking, he was caught on tape, that if you are talking to us as ministers like this, how about talking to a commoner? Really? Now you have an NDC member of parliament calling certain people commoners, doing classifications of people? Whoa, is that what we have gotten to? I thought the NDC is for commoners. Now you want to describe certain people as commoners. I think that if the doctors are calling for an apology, it sits in its right place. They should just do the honorable thing, and that's it. Let's move on.
Very well. Thank you so much, the Honorable Eyewitness Acquah himself, a health sector person. And thanks so much for speaking to us. A member of the Health Committee of Parliament, a member of Parliament for Akim Oda in the Eastern region. Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Let's speak to our correspondent, Shawana Yusuf, from the Northern region, who observed a lot of the things and has joined us on the line. Hello, Shawana. Good evening. Welcome to Eyewitness. What is the situation there? Now, the minister was there, spoke to the people, and I believe some doctors, and donated some items as well. What is the status of the strike as we speak? Are the doctors still on strike, or they've called it off, given the statement from the minister and the items donated to the facility?
Okay, thank you. So, currently, as I speak, I left there about some 40 minutes ago, and as at the time I was leaving the facility, the doctors were still on strike. Patients couldn't access services. I mean, patients who came in on OPD cases were not able to access services. Emergency cases that came in since morning were not also able to access services. And what I noticed was that all the crowds we recorded since morning to say midday and late afternoon, all of them had to move to other facilities to seek medical attention because the doctors at the teaching hospital were not there to serve them. So as it stands, it's only inpatients that they are taking care of, but those who are coming for cases are fresh, are not being attended to, and there is no doctor at any of the consulting rooms that I visited, both in the morning and in the afternoon, to attend to these patients.
I see. So what is the general mood of the people in the hospital?
Not so happy. I mean, I had a conversation with about two patients in the morning who came. One of them is a mother who brought one of the daughters to ENT, and there was no doctor. She told me she was sitting there for over 4 hours, hoping there were doctors coming later. But there was not even any information coming to them whatsoever to tell them that our doctors are on strike. So you sitting there would mean that they are waiting for nothing. So they wasted most of the time. They had to hear some of these things from the media persons who came to question them whether they were aware there were a strike or an industrial strike being taking place at the teaching hospital. There was also another guy who brought the mother who had a serious injury on the foot and needed immediate attention. But when they got there, they couldn't even access any emergency services, and they had to turn back to other facilities. They expressed frustration. Somebody was scheduled to come for a surgery today, and when she got there, she was told that doctors were on strike and that there was nothing they could do about it. What it meant was that he had to travel back for about 6 hours back to where she was coming from just because the doctors are not available, and come back when they rescind their decision. So it hasn't been a good thing for both patients and patients' relatives who came to the Tamale Teaching Hospital today to access healthcare.
Very well. Thanks so much, Shawana Yusuf. I will be coming back to you for more updates, so just keep your ears on the ground, and we'll be talking more. Northern Regional Correspondent there, Shawana Yusuf, reporting on the happenings in the Tamale Teaching Hospital. Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. And also, the breaking news really is that Narcotics is intercepted some 73 slabs of suspected cocaine at the Swiss port at the Kotoka International Airport, and 4 persons have been arrested. We've been joined on the line by Chum Berima, who is Deputy Director at the Narcotics Control Commission, to help us understand really what this bust, what led to this bust and matters arising. Hello, good evening, sir. Welcome to Eyewitness News. Can you confirm to us that indeed this amount of substances suspected to be cocaine have been busted or intercepted by your team? I think we've lost, or we are losing Honorable Chum Berima, who is the Deputy Director of the Narcotics Control Commission. Hello, good evening, sir. Welcome to Eyewitness News. Mr. Chum Berima, good evening. We'll work the lines and get back to the Deputy Director for the Narcotics Control Commission. The news really is that 4 individuals have been arrested following the interception of a cargo shipment containing suspected substances or suspected cocaine by the Narcotics Control Commission on Wednesday. The operation took place at the Swiss port, where the narcotic officials uncovered a total of 73 slabs of a concealed substance believed to be cocaine. The suspected narcotics, weighing approximately 89.74 kilograms, were reportedly being packaged for export to the Netherlands. Mr. Chum Berima, good evening. Welcome to Eyewitness News.
Once again. Good evening, sir.
Yes, thanks so much for joining. Can you confirm to us that indeed Narcotics is intercepted this amount of suspected cocaine?
Well, yeah, yesterday evening or in the night we did that at the Swiss port. 73 parcels were retrieved and 4 persons were arrested. And they are in our custody now.
Well, what were the circumstances that led to the interception?
Routine work. I mean, every time items are going out or being shipped out, we are at the point of we are at the scanning point that we also monitor and observe things that are being scanned, and those that we are suspicious of, we get them re-examined. So that is what happened, and we got to know that the items in it were something that was a bit suspicious. So our K9 went in to use our dogs to do the examination, and we found them to be, what is prohibited. And so I was there personally. So we brought them to our headquarters, for for detention and then investigation as well.
So these 4 persons you've picked up, are they Ghanaian nationals or they are foreigners, or who are they?
They are all Ghanaian nationals, yeah.
And what is your preliminary investigation telling you about the source of this particular haul?
Oh, well, early days yet, because but I know that my men I just finished a meeting. They are doing 1 or 2 checks, so I wouldn't want to speak to the investigation things, but I can only say that investigation is still underway intensively.
There's been concerns that in the last few months there's been quite huge busts of suspected cocaine in the country. I mean, the Cape Coast one, and I understand one in the Western region, and this one. I mean, not to speak of the controversy around the AirMed facility and all of that, but the real busts. You know, people think that the country is becoming a safe ground for people who deal in or who peddle drugs, and so that's why we are seeing a lot of that. What can you tell us as somebody of high repute or authority at NACOC in respect of these concerns people are raising?
I can only say that now the country or the institution has quality leaders who are actively working, ensuring that the right things are done. Because the arrests of such persons confirm that we are working, that they are not having their easy ways that they used to have in the past. To talk about the fact that the country is becoming a safe place for them or whatever, well, I can't say that it's so now, but what I know is that I think in 2022 was when the British High Commissioner or something did say that about Ghana. But now there have not been any such statement. But what I can say is that leaders, or they are now we have quality and relentless leaders who are working highly to ensure that we get this thing off. Our borders or our country at large. And the thing that you were talking, that was a fallacy. He didn't know what he was talking about, and so it's not something I really want us to be revisiting it to even entertain it, because the person who was saying it was just throwing dust into the air. He didn't know what he was talking about. But there was no certain that there was no certain, so I don't even want us to entertain it. But at least in this case, where the people were trying to export something that is not permitted, they were intercepted. They were arrested. Investigation is ongoing. So that tells you that we are working. Because if we were not to be working, they would have had their way through, and by now, as at last night, by now they would have been in Europe that the thing was bound to go. But because we are working, we were able to intercept it and got them arrested immediately. It was in the night. I had closed that I was about leaving the office going when the call came. And immediately I have to go there myself.
So it is your
that tells you that we are working.
So it is your suggestion that this bust we are seeing is because your men are working, and that previously the men were not working?
You see, I wouldn't want us to be doing comparative analysis, because if you have to go there, we may take your entire time of your news to be doing that kind of argument. And I don't think any other person who will try to contend the other way around will succeed, because of what I know. But I don't want us to go into that. But I can say on authority that this is an indication that we are working.
But you said this was being prepared for export to the Netherlands. Where did they come from?
Well, they're moving from Ghana here, Accra here to Netherlands. That is the whole thing.
The origin is Ghana? Or it came from somewhere? It came from somewhere.
Oh, that one, the investigation may lead to other things if it was so. But what we can speak to now is that they were in Accra here, shipping it from Accra to Netherlands. So that is what we can say. Because if we were to be entering any records at the shipping point, you will not say that it's not a transit item. Because you were holding it, a shipping officer or whatever, were delivering it to be shipped to another country. So you indicate that maybe from Ghana or Accra to Netherlands or whatever place that it was going to.
I see. Thanks so much for speaking to us, and we hope that in the coming days we will hear more updates on this particular bust and see what happens to the 4 persons you have picked up. But before that, are the people talking? Are the 4 you have picked up, have they been speaking so far? All right, it's gone. That's Chumberima, Deputy Director, Narcotics Control Commission, speaking to us on the arrest of some 4 persons in respect of some cocaine haul at the Swiss ports. Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. A few of your messages. This one from Akapol Jr. and Afumim says, the doctors must refuse the appeal by the minister to call off the strike until unqualified apologies is rendered. SK from Kenya Sikumasi says, I'm not surprised at all to hear the suspension of the Chief Justice since the president is so bent on removing her from office. That's Father SK. You see from Town Council line, so the Coasifua injunction case will be heard in December 2026 for him to also appreciate what the embattled suspended CJ has been subjecting people she feels are her political opponents to. Alasan Hamdan from Nyohini South says, I think they should sack these doctors. This strike goes a long way to tell how they don't value human lives at the facility. This confirms all the bad narratives we have been hearing from or about the facility. They don't deserve to be health professionals. Jones Adoboinla says, I want to commend the minister for the bold decision. Going back to present those items shows that the minister really understands the situation. It's out of shame that the doctors took those decisions. They should go back to work. As if we're to court again, Sonny from Tema asks, well, anyone can go to court. I'm only worried about the way they are exposing the CJ to public discussion. Gregory in Takrady says, Akando's behavior and rants were uncalled for and needless. He should apologize profusely and do the needful. Meanwhile, I urge the doctors to temper justice with mercy. The future is pregnant, you say. Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll do more. Don't go away.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Are you feeling tired after a hard day's work? Have you lost your appetite even for your favorite dish? Viral Blood Tonic is a nutritionally balanced, pleasant-tasting tonic fortified with iron and vitamins to boost your appetite and energy levels for high performance. Viral Blood Tonic, easy to take and good for the family. Viral from Danex Iting Starwin PLC. If symptoms persist after 48 hours, consult a physician. This advert is FDA approved.
LPG. I am from a jar and hotse. Nanso se ehubetia mawa agisa wudi edi dwuma yi. Ansa na wo beso wuja no. Hwia na hwe se from a jar ho nka biara enje ho. Se wote from a jar ho pampa na buebue apono ne mpoma no nyina eba ne saa a menso ana menum biara edi enyina mahoden eye adwuma. Dundum eja biara waso wo ho. Na frɛ onimdifo mano mmehwe mawo. Fasamina nsuo gu from a jar tontruwa no ano. Se wo ehuro a natural se etue ampa ta ehwe se droben na etwe from eja no hu ntue na ta isesa droben no acha preko mfie mienu biara echi hwe se abri biara wo be soja no wo bepa wo matches ansa na waso wo stove hwe se from eja ne ho asode no adum abri biara wo mfandi dwuma biara nkratoyi efri National Petroleum Authority aswe.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
You're welcome back. Now, government has today launched its Free Sanitary Pad initiative, a program designed to provide free sanitary towels to schoolgirls across the country. This policy is in line with President Mahama's vision to promoting gender equality and ensuring all children have access to quality education. Speaking at the launch, President Mahama expressed optimism, noting that the free distribution of sanitary pad will improve the school attendance among schoolgirls while boosting their confidence.
And before you to officially launch the National Sanitary Pad Distribution Program, a promise we made and are proud to have fulfilled. This initiative is more than just the distribution of sanitary pads. It is a clear declaration that no girl in Ghana should miss school because of her menstrual period. Far too many of our daughters, our nieces and sisters have missed out on education, not because they lack the academic intelligence and the flair or the will or the ambition, but simply because they lack access to proper sanitary products. Research has shown that girls can miss up to 5 school days each month, amounting to nearly 40 days of schooling a year. This is not just a statistic. It represents a young girl falling behind in class, losing her confidence, and struggling to catch up because of what is a natural biological process. This reality is unacceptable. In Ghana, where we aim for progress, equity, and justice, this must not continue. Menstruation should never be a reason for exclusion or shame. It should not be a barrier to education or self-achievement. And that is why...
You heard President John Dramani Mahama.
Now let's get to one of our headline stories. The Member of Parliament for Otafu, Vincent Acquah, has filed an application at the Supreme Court seeking to halt President John Dramani Mahama's suspension of the Chief Justice Gertrude Araba Sabasaki Tokonu. In the application, Vincent Acquah contends that the President's application or the President's actions violate constitutional provisions and threaten judicial independence. He argues that the Chief Justice was not allowed to respond to the allegations before the President initiated the consultations with the Council of State as required by Article 1466 of the Constitution. He joins us on the line now to help us understand really what he's seeking to achieve. Hello, good evening, sir. Welcome to Eyewitness News. The Chief Justice is being suspended following the founding of a prima facie case against her in that consultative process between the President and the Council of State. Is this application, what do you intend to achieve? That the Chief Justice will be recalled, or what exactly are you seeking to achieve?
Well, Solomon, I think right from the onset there's been procedural impropriety, and I sought to make sure that the process is not tainted with illegalities or procedural negativities. I say so because you remember I filed my first application at the Supreme Court asking for certain declarations, which declarations was swiftly followed with an application for interlocutory injunction. Because I believe that the President of the Republic of Ghana, first and foremost, should have given the petition against the CJ to respond, or if like to give some comments, even before any consultations or whatsoever will be done with the Council of State. That did not happen. I think that the petition had been on the desk of the President for about 6 weeks until my application at the Supreme Court, which made the President now give the petition to the CJ. Now, my point is that whilst the application and the substantive matter itself is pending at the Supreme Court, it is my belief that until the determination of that application and that substantive matter, the President should not or could not have gone ahead to suspend the Chief Justice. Because for me, that matter is already before the Supreme Court. So why don't we allow the Supreme Court to hear the matter? Then after, if the President has anything to say or do, then he can go ahead. And so it's on that basis that I believe that what the President did or has done by suspending the Chief Justice is not in consonance with the law.
So that's the main ground for your application, that because the matter is pending before the court, the President didn't have to take any step that will prejudice the outcome of the case.
Absolutely.
But can anybody injunct the President from carrying out a constitutional duty, really?
Well, It's debatable. It is my belief that when there's a matter that is before the court, whether constitutional matters or even matters like these applications, my belief is that, especially if you want to take a cue from the Moffat case, even though it is a pending matter, it is supposed to be seen as an injunction in itself. And so matters, or if you like, the content of my relief that I'm seeking from the court, it can fall anywhere. And so in the event that it falls where the president itself or the president himself is attempting to deal with the matter in such a manner that will prejudice the pending, or if you like, the instant case, I think that should not be the way to go. And so it is my belief that the president ought to have waited for the matter that is before the court to have been determined before any action or whatsoever would have been taken.
But what will be is, if this is allowed to stay, that anyone who feels or who thinks anyone with the right goes to the Supreme Court to injunct or to mount an action against the president or the discharge of a constitutional duty. I mean, don't you think that would draw the state back? Because the president has a lot of things to do by the Constitution, and anybody could go to court, raise an issue, and seek to injunct the process. If that is the case, nothing will happen. The president will be waiting for Supreme Court or the court forever, and they cannot work. That is why, you cannot injunct a president from carrying out a constitutional duty. Everybody can go to court and injunct or seek to injunct the president. If it is so, the state will grind to a halt, and that will be a difficulty, won't it?
Well, when the power is given to the president to, as it were, do anything constitutionally, it will have to be done justifiably, it will have to be done fairly. And so the fact that the power has been given to a president to act or do anything doesn't mean that it should be done anyhow. It should be done capriciously or whimsically. Now, I say this because even before the 2024 election, the president himself, and I say this by way of the president's intent, which is supported by his own party architecture, that the president's intent has been to take off, or even to remove the president of the republic, the chief justice. If you look at the supplementary application that I filed on Tuesday, the supplementary application sought to indicate the intent of the President of the Republic of Ghana, which intent is not good for our democracy, because you cannot say before 2024 that is before 2024 general elections, that when given the opportunity, you are going to clean the judiciary from, quote and unquote, political animals. That is the act, in my estimation. That is what he is trying to do. We've had his own chairman of the NDC having cause to say that when given the opportunity, or in his estimation, the CJ and the Electoral Commission should be taken off. We've had people who are also appointees of the government at the presidency, Mustafa Gandhi and co., who sought to say that the CJ and the Electoral Commission should be taken off. And so the intent of the actions are also relevant. And so the fact that the power has been given doesn't mean that the power should be used in such a way that it will affect and assault our democracy. And that is why, as per the Constitution, that is Article 2, any citizen like myself has every responsibility to protect the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. We are testing the law. I believe that the law is on my side. Let us wait for what the Supreme Court will say.
Yes, there are others who said that, who canvass your position as well, and even say, go to the extent of saying that the president might have acted contemptuously of the courts. Is that something you are looking at?
Well, I made a Facebook post on that, I think, on Monday, because at the time I had already suspected that His Excellency the President wanted to take this move. You see, if you're a lawyer, you have every responsibility to assume that position an officer of the court, you have the responsibility to also advise your client. In this instance, the Attorney General is the lawyer of the president. He has every responsibility to advise the president to act in such a way that will be in consonance with the dictates of the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. In the absence of that, the Code of Ethics that regulates we, the lawyers, it's clear that you can be sanctioned for that. And so if there's a matter that is before the court, which matter the AG or if like the president is a party to it, and as an officer of the court, you ought to advise your client not to do anything that will prejudice the content of the application of injunction that is before the Supreme Court. And so if the AG looks on, and you see, the actions and the inactions of the AG seems contradictory, because if you look at the application, if like the response to our application that was filed by the AG, he stated clearly that the president had no responsibility whatsoever to refer the matter to the CJ for comment or response. This is what the AG filed in court. Meanwhile, we had his client, that is the President of the Republic of Ghana, now giving the petition to the CJ to respond to it. What are they trying to communicate? What are they trying to say? So I'm just saying that in all of these things, there seems not to be a clear intent in acting on the procedures as has been enshrined in Article 146 of the 1990 Constitution. It seems to have been orchestrated. It seems to be choreographed. It seems that someone is bent on removing the CJ. Yes, you can remove the CJ, but that is an assault to our democracy. Let it not be said that tomorrow any president will come, or if like every 4 years or 8 years, the head of the judiciary will be taken off. So, in removing the head of the judiciary, please, whatever accusations or whatsoever that is against the judiciary, head of the judiciary, should be deeply grave, should be serious. It should not be anything frivolous or vexatious. People who are watching, diplomatic community, well-meaning Ghanaians, have seen through the lines that this is just a political attack. It will not help our democracy. And I don't think that as a Ghanaian, as a citizen, as per Article 2 of the 1992 Constitution, I will sit aloof for this thing to go on. And I'm praying that the Supreme Court will see reason in the relief that I am seeking. If it doesn't, as the tortoise said in the Chinua Achebe's book, we will try and do whatever we want to do. But if it doesn't happen, we have done our best. But I believe that the Supreme Court will see reason in the reason why we've gone to court and agree with our relief that we are seeking.
A texter wants to find out what enforcement or interpretation issue is at stake, for which reason you are at the Supreme Court.
Well, with the interpretation issue, I felt that, you see, Article 146 does not clearly talk about the fact that the president will have to establish a prima facie case against the CJ. Of course, Ejechum came to, as it were, fill that gap. But the interpretation that I am seeking directly from the Supreme Court is that in terms of procedure, the president ought to give the petition to the CJ for response and comment even before any consultation whatsoever will be done with the Council of State. Other than that, we will be opening the floodgate for petitions, frivolous and unnecessary petitions, to be flooded at the gate of the president, and the president will also be sending, if like, will be sharing this or these petitions to the Council of State. The President of the Republic ought to establish a prima facie case after he has received the petition, which petition should be ferried to the CJ for the CJ to give comments and responses before that prima facie will have to be established. This has not been clearly stated in the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. And so it is my belief that
upon reading in its entirety and bringing about the letter and the context of the 1992 Constitution, as it is demanded upon us by the Interpretation Act of Ghana, that in interpreting the Constitution, you have to do so purposively. That upon a true and proper interpretation of Article 146, the President ought to give the petition to the CJ before any consultation will have to be triggered or otherwise. And that is the crux of my declarations that I am seeking from the Supreme Court by way of interpretation.
I see. But one would expect that, I mean, the matters you are raising fall squarely within the rules of natural justice. So that was done, and that is it. So many do not really see the issue of interpretation there, because it's implied, it goes without saying, that you don't condemn a man, or in this case a woman, until after you have heard him or her. So, and that has been done. That essentially makes your application or makes your suit moot. Don't you agree?
The doctrine of mootness does not apply to constitutional matters. And the fact that there has been an acquiescence, it cannot be a defense for me as a citizen of the Republic of Ghana to protect the Constitution of Ghana. When you look at the recent case of Kwame Bafo, that is Abonye, and the Attorney General, the Supreme Court had the occasion to reiterate the point that was made in the J.H. Mensah case, that unless, of course, a matter does not lend itself to reoccurrence in future, unless, of course, it does not lend itself to any reoccurrence, then the Supreme Court will not bother with matters that has already been determined.
Very well.
That is anything to do that.
Very well.
But if there is a potentiality that the matter will reoccur, the Supreme Court has every responsibility to make sure that it will determine the matter to foster future reoccurrence. However,
well, very well. Thanks, Vincent Esefua, applicant in that matter and member of Parliament for the Old Tafo constituency. In fact, the GBA has also issued a statement urging all parties involved in the ongoing process to remove the CJ to uphold the rule of law and safeguard judicial independence. The association noted that the President has acted in accordance with Article 146 of the Constitution. While acknowledging the legality of the process, the GBA is calling for respect for the judiciary and strict adherence to legal procedures to preserve the integrity of the judiciary. A quick one, there's been a memorandum from the Office of the Deputy Judicial Secretary, which is headed Assignment of Courts and Fixing of the Dates for Newly Filed Cases and All Newly Filed Applications, dated 23rd April 2025, and this is a directive by the acting Chief Justice. It reads, I have been directed by the acting Honorable Chief Justice to inform you that all newly filed cases and applications will be brought to his attention for assignments of courts, and paneling of judges where there are more than one court, and for the fixing of dates for hearing. Take note that this directive supersedes all previous directives until further notice. Please accept the compliments of the acting Honorable Chief Justice, signed by Dr. Syracuse Bapuro, who is the Deputy Judicial Secretary. Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We'll take a short break. When we return, it will be time for Citi Business News. Don't go away.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Charlie, where are you?
Boss man, I'm at the bank.
Really? But your car is in front of your house.
Bro, my bank on my phone, Charlie.
Oh, how?
EcoBank, bro. With EcoBank mobile app, I can do everything, anywhere, anytime. Listen, I just checked my account balance, paid Ahmed's school fees, and sent money to my grandma at Walwale.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Masa, just download the EcoBank mobile app from the Google Play Store or the App Store, or dial *770# and be your own bank manager.
Manager.
Whether to pay bills or fees,
banks to check account statements, send money across Ghana, abroad, and more. EcoBank mobile app has got it covered. EcoBank Mobile, making everyday people live everyday lives the EcoBank way. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Oh, jump on now. Go, the go. Gugomi, at what time will you come back where I don't hear the sound of your car? Why you buy new car? No, I not change my car. It be the same ride. It be the fuel way I change. Way one shouts it. Ever since I started using the all-new Excellium Premium Fuel, fortified with 3-in-1 action. Oh, Joe, now my car they run like electric car. No, it's so. This is the type of fuel where they want to. Cause now engine they cost. Where they want for way if I buy it, it go protect my engine. And with the small way I buy, I go drive, sir. Absolutely. It's like strapping a turbocharger to your engine and giving it a protector. And what they bust my mind, Seth, be the 3-in-1 action, no? Excellium, they prevent up to 99% of deposit. It be anti-wear, some be anti-corrosion. Won't pay when I open it. Hey, so where can I find this magical fuel? Just head over to any Total Energy service station and your car will thank you. Hey, then make a finish my gobe fast, then rush go Total Energies. My friend, but why your hand my gobe inside? I give you info. Make a fill the gobe too small. Go. Excellium is designed to protect your car engine, decrease fuel consumption, and lower CO2 emissions. Don't say fuel, say Excellium. Choose Excellium, choose quality.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. Citi Business News. Be informed.
Time now for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News. I am Hawa Idrisu Mustafa. Details of our stories now. The cost of credit for individuals in Ghana remains steep as no bank is offering household loans at interest rate below 20%. Borrowers are facing rates as high as 50%, according to the Bank of Ghana's latest report on annualized percentage rate for loans to household, SMEs and corporates for March 2025. There is more in the following report by Daniel Sakiti.
According to the Bank of Ghana's latest report for March 2025 on annualized percentage rates for loans to individuals, no bank was offering household loans at rates below 20%. Whether the loan tenure was 1, 3 or 5 years, individuals were required to pay interest rates ranging between 20% and over 50%. For 1-year household loans, the most competitive rate was offered by Guarantee Trust Bank Ghana Limited at 23.80%. This was followed by Bank of Africa Ghana Limited with an average rate of 25.93%. GCB Bank Limited offered 27.20%, while Citi General Ghana PLC and Republic Bank Ghana PLC followed closely at 27.48% and 29.12% respectively. Rounding out the top 10 were Standard Chartered Bank Ghana Limited at 29.67%, Absa Bank Ghana Limited at 32.08%, EcoBank Ghana Limited at 32.93%, Zenith Bank Ghana Limited at 33.24%, and Access Bank Ghana PLC at 33.30%. The highest average rate for 1-year loans were recorded by Stanbic Bank Ghana Limited at a significant 50.80%. For 3-year loans, Guarantee Trust Bank Ghana Limited again offered the lowest rate at 21.60%, followed by Citi General Ghana PLC at 23.17% and Fidelity Bank Ghana Limited at 24.30%.
That report was filed by Daniel Sakiti. Now, staff involvement in fraudulent activities soared by 33% in 2024, according to the latest annual fraud report released by the Central Bank. The report, which covers banks and specialized deposit-taking institutions, reveals that 365 employees were implicated in fraud cases last year, up from 274 in 2023. Here is more.
Cash theft or suppression remains the dominant form of internal fraud, accounting for 3/4 of these cases. Out of the total implicated staff, 274 were directly involved in this type of financial misconduct. Despite the gravity of these offences, 43% of the staff involved were dismissed. a figure the BOG attributes to protracted legal processes that discourage full legal pursuit. The Bank of Ghana expressed concern about the consistent and steady increase in regulated financial institutions' staff involvement in fraudulent activities, urging banks to tighten recruitment screening and ensure diligent prosecution of offenders. The BOG's findings also show a broader increase in fraudulent activities across the financial sector, with a total of 16,733 fraud cases reported in 2024, a 5% rise from the previous year. While the number of fraud cases within banks declined, fraud in the specialized deposit-taking institutions and payment service provider sectors increased. Most striking was the jump in the value at risk from forgery and document manipulation, which ballooned to 53.5 million Ghana cedis in 2024, nearly 8 times the 6.9 million Ghana cedis recorded in 2023. Identity theft also surged, with losses increasing nearly 9-fold. Despite these alarming trends, the BOG recovered only 3 million Ghana cedis, the 83 million Ghana cedis at risk, underscoring challenges in enforcement and recovery. The report calls for a zero-tolerance culture toward internal fraud and continued stakeholder collaboration to stem the tide of financial crime.
Daniel Odro-Mensah filed that report. Players within the cryptocurrency space have expressed confidence that the digital asset industry will see significant growth as the government moves to regulate it. The governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, recently announced that the central bank will commence regulation of cryptocurrency and related platforms by the end of September 2025. Speaking to Citi Business News, president of IoT Network Hub and Ghana STEM Network, Joshua Opoku Ajuman, says the regulation has been long overdue.
It has been something the crypto community and the blockchain community of Ghana has been really looking forward to for a very long time, because we've seen how cryptocurrency have grown over the past years, with Bitcoin today worth about $93,000. And the countries and communities that embraced it earlier, they're making the best out of it today. A lot of innovation has been built, a lot of market capitals have been built. Even Bitcoin capital is about trillions of dollars today. And this is all as a result of countries embracing it and adopting it so fast. So I'm so excited that as a country we're taking this bold step to be able to regulate cryptocurrency, and because it's going to now open up for the industry to grow. Now there's going to be confidence, there's going to be trust when having government regulatory supporting it. And to me, I think this is also going to drive our digital assets industry as well.
Joshua Opoku Ajuman is the president of IoT Network Hub and Ghana STEM Network. The Ghana Venture Capital and Private Equity Association is calling for the full operationalization of domestic capital mobilization frameworks to scale up support for MSMEs in the country. The association argues that strengthening local investment pipelines is essential to shield MSMEs from global economic shocks, including the recent tariff hikes announced by the Trump administration. Speaking on the sidelines of the GVCA 2025 conference in Accra, Chief Executive Ama Jampo acknowledged the potential strain such international trade policies could place on Ghana's private sector.
We are definitely going to have cycles of crises, and we've had tariff issues, and we're really looking to promote more local productivity. We need to be more productive, we need to lower our cost of production, we need to look at regional trade. We talked about this quite a lot. Regional trade, how do we get AFTA to step up? Because a lot of our feedback from our members is that we don't really see what AFTA is doing. We have a secretariat in Accra.
Apologies for the poor quality of that inset. Now, before we go, Societe Generale Ghana has held the first mini draw of its Deposit and Drive campaign, rewarding 40 customers with household and electronic appliances. According to the bank, the initiative is designed to promote financial discipline through consistent saving. Managing Director of Societe Ghana, Hakim Uzani, acknowledged the growing interest in the campaign and encouraged customers to prioritize saving as a way to build financial security.
Of our Deposit and Drive promotion. Today's mini draw is more than a celebration of lucky winners. It's a reminder of the vitamin, as my colleague just said it, of a strong saving culture. We want to promote this saving culture every day for all our clients. Since February.
We had a managing director of Societe Generale Ghana, Mr. Hakeem Uzani. And that's it for the business news on Eyewitness News. I am Hawa Idrisi Mustafa. Up next is Point Blank.
Polytank is everywhere, durable and authentic. Stronger brand you can trust. Polytank, we get some more Rambo and get some more super. And the Polytank we did. Polytank, Papa no no, 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 Ankasa. Polytank, the original, always the best.
Oh, jump on now. Go, the go. Google me. Now, what time will you come back where I don't hear the sound of your car? Why you buy new car? No, I not change my car. It be the same, right? It be the fuel where I change. Way one shouts it. Ever since I started using the all-new Excellium Premium Fuel, fortified with 3-in-1 action. Oh, Joe, now my car they run like electric car. No, it's so.
This is the type of fuel where they want to. Because now engine they cost. Where they want for way if I buy it, it go protect my engine. And with the small way I buy, I go drive, sir.
Absolutely. It's like strapping a turbocharger to your engine and giving it a protector. And what they bust my mind, Seth, be the 3-in-1 action, no? Excellium, they prevent up to 99% of deposit. It be anti-wear, some be anti-corrosion. Won't pay when I open them.
Hey, so where can I find this magical fuel?
Just head over to any Total Energy service station and your car will thank you.
Hey, then make a finish my gobe fast, then rush go Total Energies. My friend, but why your hand my gobe inside?
I give you info. Make a fill the gobe too small.
The go.
Excellium is designed to protect your car engine, decrease fuel consumption, and lower CO2 emissions. Don't say fuel, say Excellium. Choose Excellium, choose quality.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Welcome to Point Blank on Eyewitness News. It's 15 minutes to the top of the hour. The former boss at the National Signals Bureau, Mr. Duboahin, has sued the AG for defamation. According to him, the AG has made comments and statements that are highly defamatory, and he wants the court to slap punitive damages against him. My colleague Hansen Ajiman has joined me in studio to look at details of the suit. Hansen, good evening. Welcome to Point Blank.
Good evening, Salam.
Yes, what exactly is the former boss at the National Signals Bureau asking the court to do for him?
So he's seeking one exemplary and punitive damages against the defendant, which is the person of Dr. Dominic Ayine, who is the Attorney General, for publishing and or broadcasting highly offensive, defamatory material and concerning the plaintiff in his press conference dated the 24th day of March 2025. He's also seeking an order of perpetual injunction restraining the defendant, that is Dr. Dominic Ayine, the AG, from further publishing and or broadcasting or causing to be published and or broadcast the said or similar words defamatory of the plaintiff. He's also asking for costs, including lawyers' professional fees. And so even though he doesn't state specifically the amount he's requiring from the court, if he's successful, he's asking the court to slap exemplary and punitive damages against Dr. Dominic Ayine. His arguments basically are that at the said press conference where Dr. Dominic Ayine sought to give an update on how investigations into activities within the National Signals Bureau with respect to the purchase of some cybersecurity equipment, where Dr. Dominic Ayine indicated that Kwabena Edubuahen, who at the time was director of the National Signals Bureau, created a company with his wife and also transferred some amount of money, about 40 million Ghana cedis, into that account, which was the amount of a contract that was signed with an Israeli company, out of which, according to Dominic Ayine, just 9 million was then transferred from that said account belonging to the business of Edubuahen and his wife to the Israeli company. The remaining amount, Dr. Dominic Ayine at that press conference said, was used to purchase houses and used to engage in other investments. And in the view of Kwabena Edubuahen and his wife, they believe that the words that were published or stated by the Attorney General at that press conference were defamatory in nature. They are saying that he sought to describe them as money launderers and also sought to describe them as criminals. He said that the Attorney General went out of his constitutional remit and on a frolic of his own to pronounce that the plaintiffs, that is Edubuahen and his wife, are criminals and fraudsters, while ignoring their constitutional right to be deemed innocent until proven guilty. He's also saying that if you look at the pedigree and the status of the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayine, he ought to have known that the action he was taking was going to affect their reputation, and did affect their reputation. And as a result of that, he's asking from the court to put some exemplary and punitive damages against the defendant, that is Dr. Dominic Ayine.
So I mean, just refresh our memories. I mean, on what exactly Dominic Ayine might have said that he feels was defamatory. So this was the gentleman who was boss at the National Signals Bureau, and Dr. Ayine, in his last press conference or press statement, said some things about him. The fact that he diverted some huge sums of money from the state to his personal accounts, etc., and bought some properties in plush areas of Accra, etc., etc. So he is saying that these comments by Dominic Ayeni against him, he finds defamatory. Is he saying that these comments were false or are false, or what exactly is he saying?
So he's making the point that if Dr. Dominic Ayeni, the Attorney General, indeed had any case against him, then the appropriate way to go about this was to take him to court. But rather, Dr. Dominic Ayeni decided to try the matter in the court of public opinion as a strategy of tarnishing their image. And he's also making the point that these issues Dr. Dominic Ayeni knew were false and malicious, and he went ahead to make these pronouncements with the press. So if you look at portions of the suit as we've seen, the defendant, very mindful of the fact that the first plaintiff is a national security operative and the second plaintiff is signed on national security transition collaborator, violated the complaint investigation provisions of the Security and Intelligence Act 1030 and the National Signals Bureau Act 1040. He says the defendant was reckless and unprofessional in exposing matters of national security with an avowed aim to paint the plaintiffs as criminals and fraudsters. The defendant, in complete bad faith, reduced his so-called criminal investigations and prosecutions to theatrics in the public domain, in which he had determined the custodial sentences due the plaintiffs, although Yoko had not taken their statements and no criminal charges had been preferred against them. The defendant displayed malice and arbitrary deployment of power when he published to the whole world that he could release the plaintiffs and re-arrest them at his pleasure. So he's more concerned about how Dr. Dominic Ayeni acted and decided to put out the facts of these issues in the public domain without going through the courts.
So do we know whether the state or the republic has pressed charges against the gentleman and the wife in question?
We don't know if any charges have been pressed here. What we know is that the Yoko officers who arrested him had granted him bail conditions for which his lawyers indicated were too excessive. Together with his wife, their bail conditions were about 2 million Ghana cedis. And then their lawyers went to the High Court to ask for variation of the bail conditions that have been done. And their lawyers at the time we spoke to them had indicated that efforts had been made to secure the bail conditions and to meet the bail conditions. But as to whether the state has gone ahead to really charge Kwabena Duboahen and his wife for any criminal offense, we are yet to be told. This particular defamation suit, we have been told, was filed today, 24th day of April 2025, by his lawyers, led by Samuel Atachia.
I see. Interesting days ahead. And this suit is by himself and his wife.
Yes, so the plaintiffs in the matter are Kwabena Duboahen himself and then his wife, Angela Ejeboaten. His wife is said to be a director of the said company account. The both of them transferred state monies into, some of which was used to pay the Israeli company that contracted with the state for the purchase of the cybersecurity equipment, and the other monies which the Attorney General explained during that press conference that part was used in the purchase of some properties and some estates.
So did he say anything in the suit in respect of, directly in respect of the properties and clearly denying that he used monies from the states as alleged by the Attorney General to purchase those properties? In
a writ as we've cited so far, he didn't make any specific mention of that. A number of the paragraphs in the statement of claim, as we've seen, was to give a justification of the caliber of person he and his wife are, and to give an indication of the status of the Attorney General in a manner such that it will go to the point that indeed the publication of that news has affected their image, and the Attorney General, because of his status and his caliber as a lawyer of 29 years standing, should know better than to do what he did.
So if the Attorney General, of course, I'm not sure if you can answer this, but if the Attorney General had pressed charges or presses charges now, would he have gone ahead with this, or it's merely because the Attorney General is not pressed charges yet? That's why this is being filed.
Well, it could be a reason, because the Attorney General during that press conference had given an indication that the charges some charges will be made against him somewhere either in the month of April, and
April is ending.
April is ending, and so that
24th, maybe it will happen tomorrow.
Yes, that's true. So that might have contributed, but it appears that he and his wife are confident that the manner in which the Attorney General came out to publicize their alleged wrongdoing was wrong and has done some injury to their reputation.
Very well. Interesting times. But we have no indication from the AG's office whether they've been served or not. It was filed today. And we don't know whether unofficially the AG's office, the AG's heard it and made some comments these days, social media. I mean, we've not heard anything like that.
That we've not heard. But one thing that it has also shown us is that the acting Chief Justice, he has begun his duty and performing his duty as acting Chief Justice. And as you know, the writs that are issued in the Superior Court are often issued with the seal of the
CJ.
Of the
so
CJ.
CJ wants to see.
Yes, and so there's a name of the
acting CJ.
Acting Paul Baffo Bunny, which is written on the document. And so one thing that this document has proven to us is that the
acting CJ is working.
The acting CJ is working. Again, talking about the acting CJ working, we've received an internal memo to lawyers and to registrars of the Superior Courts of Judicature, that's the High Court, the Court of Appeal, and then the Supreme Court, from the Deputy Judicial Secretary, which is a directive from the acting Chief Justice. And portions of that letter reads, I have been directed by the acting Honorable Chief Justice to inform you that all newly filed cases and applications must be brought to his attention for assignments of courts or empaneling of judges where there are more than one court, and for the fixing of dates for hearing. Take note that this directive supersedes all previous directives, and until further notice, please accept the compliments of the acting Honorable Chief Justice. This is signed by the Deputy Judicial Secretary and copied to the acting Chief Justice. So one thing that has come out again is that the acting Chief Justice, he's begun his role to perform that role as the investigations continue for suspended Chief Justice Gertrude Tokono.
Very well. Thank you so much, Hansen Ajiman. Hansen Ajiman is our court correspondent. He brought us details of a suit filed by Kwabena Duboahin and the wife against the Attorney General. The plaintiffs say that the Attorney General's comments at a press conference recently are defamatory, and they are seeking exemplary and punitive damages. So that's how we conclude today's edition of Eyewitness News, and Point Blank for that matter. The show has been produced by Nana Kwabena Wilson, Sami Weafe, Bevlin Langdon, Julian Aldami Osari, and Manuel Yama. Earlier you heard Hawa Idrisu Mustafa. My name is Salom Adunu.